Hey Ben, this is Richard. I wanted to show you what I'm working on with the seismology networks. Um, there's a group called IRIS, and they have data on earthquakes. So these are, if you can see the little triangles in here, that star is one particular earthquake at Vanuatu Islands. And I can zoom in here and eventually get down to where this little place out here had a small quake. These are subsea, probably subsidence area where the plate is subduction zones, where the plate is going one plate over the other. I don't know which way things are here. That's an interesting little island there. Anyway, this thing here was a whatever magnitude 5, which is a relatively small one, not too rare, not too frequent, and it's at this location. Now, if I go down here, you see there's a bunch of stations. They have 136 stations that have recorded data, and those 136, I downloaded the data for them into my directory here. So each one of these files is a of that type name is a piece of information. If I look at that, come on. Alright, here we go. My mouse is. This is what it looks like. It's a text file. This is a 2-column file, 24,000 samples, and I'm going to split this real quick. And let's do, and just plot this and show you what it looks like. Okay, so it's just kind of a noisy bunch of stuff. This is 40 samples a second for. I think I've got so much going on here. My mouse is slowing down. But anyway, that's what this looks like. This is I can't search for them directly. IMPD31. The IM network, I don't remember the name of it right offhand. They're now, don't save it. I don't want to modify it. And so that's where this stuff comes from. Now, there are actually, if you go behind the scenes on this particular page, turns out you can't download this list. There's other places to get this basic information about which stations recorded stuff. They were strong enough, apparently, to record them seismically, but in terms of recording the gravity, it's not real clear yet if any of these stations are sensitive enough to pick up something of this sort. The data is there. Let me show you something. This is a recording of the same basic data, and all I've done is it's in the background. Let's see if I can stop this and show you where the pieces are. I'll get there yet. Hang on a second. I'm not rotating Earth. Get station data. Oh, okay. Here we are. Let's see if I can stop it there. Let's go to the next one. This is the same as that raw data that was there. Yeah. Okay. And all I've done is fit it into this frame from the max to the min. It's a poor first cut in there, and then I draw a line where the mean occurs, and it doesn't necessarily have to fall in the middle. It just happens that these things are fairly clean in some cases, so the deviations above and below just about match, and that puts the center of the screen from min to max, it puts the median point, or the middle point actually, and the mean roughly at the same spot. So if I take this off and continue, the green, I have two levels of summary here. The green is a pixel by pixel average across here. The blue shows the full range within a given pixel. So on this pixel, sorry, child abduction. Okay, this thing here shows the range of the signal in that pixel right there, and it goes out that far. Now the average, I plot the average in there, and it's actually swinging up and down. If I could blow this up, you'd see the signal swinging up and down multiple times within one pixel, and it doesn't go as far. The average of those things is smaller. So this is the full range of the signal in blue, the average pixel by pixel across here. So I have 600 pixels wide, and each pixel has an average. Just there are 40 points that go in each pixel. And then this thing here, I needed some way to follow the trends. I'll show you in a moment why. I wanted to follow the kind of the very, very slowly changing trends, or more slowly changing trends. And this one is built up of 1,200 points instead of 40. Okay, so 40 for the green and 1,200 for the yellow. And if I go a couple more here, this is why I put the yellow in there, because it's hard either in the blue or the average, pixel by pixel, to get a sense of where. What I really wanted was a smooth curve to go through here, and this actually captures, I just picked a ballpark figure for the averaging in here, just to give a sense of the broad trends in here. Let's see what else. So you can see some of them are going this way. Now I can flatten this thing. One of the next things I'll do here is to subtract the average in here, the running average that I have, and what that'll do is it'll give a flat central yellow line, and then the green and blue will fluctuate about that, and then I can look at variations on top of that. This is purely statistical practice. I do this whenever I tackle a new data set, whatever it might be, and I'll sort of immerse myself in the numbers for from days to weeks or months, however long it takes, until I get a somewhat of an understanding of what's possible with the data. How far we can stretch this, I don't know. I'm thinking that I should be able to get a picture of the oops, sorry, there we go. Get a picture of what's going on here. This particular instrument here is a kinematics FBA ES-T accelerometer, whatever. 5 volts per G. So that the volts per G is actually a fairly good indicator of the sensitivity. They don't use it very often on all of them. And this particular location, and it's hard, should put a comma, is almost 8.5 million kilometers, 8.5 million meters from the in a straight line from this little earthquake to this detector. So is it likely to actually be, can you pull the signal out here? I don't know. At this level, for this short a time, probably not. If you ran it for years, possibly. Now what I wanted to say here is this data, these accelerations are being transmitted through the Earth to the seismometer, and they're being transmitted through the air, if you like, or through the vacuum more properly or through the gravitational potential field correctly, and that's affecting the sensor, the relative distances inside the sensor. So there's a signal going. If I have a, let's see, if I look at the Earth here, let's see if I can get some better images. Okay, if I'm looking here at the center of the Earth, here's the core, and I'm somewhere out here. Let's see, what was it? Where was I going to go with this? They have so many different ones here. Okay. Let me go back and look at that and I'll be reminded. Oh, okay. The signal, if I'm sitting here somewhere on Earth, okay, I'm sitting out here, and there's somewhere else on the Earth, something happens. A little something happens. The gravity from that goes to the recording station more or less in a straight line. It's moving at the speed of light, so it's about 42 milliseconds, as I recall, from one side to the other. So 0.042 seconds, 400ths of a second, to go across the Earth. Now, in that time, there at 40 samples a second, you get 2 clicks, 2 samples. So you could tell if you got correlations on one sample and not the other, then you could tell whether that thing was over here or over here. You know, it wouldn't narrow it down much. I'm going to cheat a little bit and interpolate, and I'm going to say break up the time thing into like 100 parts, estimate, and then I'll get a rough idea of how far away it is from there. I don't have, there actually are some kilohertz gravimeters or seismometers, which can be used as gravimeters, accelerometers, if you want to call them that. And I'm literally begging the designers to make some gigahertz sampling rate gravimeters, and then we could go in here and resolve this whole interior down to centimeters. 30 centimeters is 1 gigahertz. So I might need a supercomputer to do it, because that's a lot of volume elements inside the Earth, and then using all the data from all the seismometers and gravimeters on the Earth. But things aren't changing that quickly, so we could use years worth of data from different stations and maybe get something out of it. With the crude methods they're using now, we can go in there and tell this is roughly what's going on. What I would like to do is see something in high resolution that covers the interior. The techniques are complementary, with an E, complementary. That is, the seismic waves tell you about the transmission properties and physical properties of the material here. The gravity, as far as I can determine, is not affected at all by intervening matter. And that's where my point was here. If there's that signal in here, it's like I can't even draw it. It's like down so far in here. If I could blow this up a factor of 1,000,000, I might just see the tiny fragments of that signal from this particular earthquake showing up in this record. But it's there, okay? Somewhere in this trace, there are hints of that particular earthquake event, that particular gravity event. And you can't mask it. You can't hide it or eliminate it. It's going to come through no matter what, okay? Now, Can you get distracted? Yes. Can you not figure out what it is because you don't know what it is? Yes. So all those things can get in the way. Now, remember what I showed you before about the, let me see if I can find some of the, all right, let's try this. Okay. All right. Okay, I think I got this one here. Gravimeter. Okay. This was a. I don't have a picture in here, do? Oh, this was just a. Let me go find a better one. Let's move on. Sun, moon, gravity. Oh, that was, I know that. I guess gravity, data. I'm not going to be able to find it. What I wanted to show you was the sun-moon signal for one of these gravimeters. The way bigger. Okay, this is tiny little way bigger variations, like 100 times bigger than this, are the sun and moon signals, and you can have a very, very noisy station, extremely noisy station. The station still records the sun-moon signal. Okay, every one of these things, regardless. Okay, if if we were looking here, and this, imagine that the sun-moon signal is this little one in here, and you got this big, big, big noise in the background and all kinds of stuff going on. You can't. When we know the sun-moon signal exactly. It's very, very, very precise. So when we go in here, we could pull out that portion of the signal and then look at what's left. And what's left is going to be the local effects, things from Earth. We take off the sun and moon, the Earth stuff is left over. I'll go through that for some real data. It's taken me, let's see, I don't know if I can, maybe I can find one. Let's see if I go to D drive, gravity, iris. Those are differences. Reference. Let's see. I'm going to keep trying. Okay. All right. These are real gravity signals. This is the sun-moon signal in there. Let me see if I can. These are from seismometers. I did this before. So here, these are examples where just why don't these are, but this is over a month. Okay, that other one was 10 minutes. So I was looking at like a teensy tiny piece on that other screen, and here now this is the whole month-long period. So you can see, even though there are spikes in here from earthquakes, even though there's all kinds of noise and other things going on, even though the sensor is not the sensors were not built to track the sun and moon signal. They were not on purpose sun-moon tracking stations, which is what I'm looking for. But they still see the signal, and you can correlate. And particularly, when I did this regression, without throwing out the noise and exceptional events to get this tied down a little bit, I found the magnitude of the signal that that fits the best. And you see the timing is quite precise. There's some issues there, but we're doing fairly good for something that wasn't built to do this job. So I'm trying to hack together stations from anywhere to see if I can find a way to track the sun and moon. And actually, if you see the evolution of what I'm trying to do, I would like to also be able to scan the interior of the Earth, the interior of the sun, the interior of the moon, those kinds of things. All right, so let's just do a few more. So I went through all of the stations that I had listed there. You see some of them are quite good. This one is GATD, okay? It's the Z component. Now if I go GCAD, Z, oh, these are all Z's. Okay, these are all the vertical channels. The nice thing is some of the stations were 3-axis machines. The northeast directions they also measured, and I picked up all 3 components of the signal. When you know all 3 components of the sun-moon signal, you can invert it and solve for where is the sun, where is the moon. You need a couple of stations, and better with the kind of noise that we're going in and these not-for-purpose instruments, we can still go and solve and say, okay, look, I'm going to calibrate. This is my best calibration for for a 30-day period. If I calibrate day by day, this stuff gets better. Do you know what's happening? Is that you can say, well, look, this is today. Even if the instrument is wandering for things, the pattern of what it's seeing should be on this scale. So, the truth is somewhere close to this, that these ranges of values have to be here. Now you don't see in here that the baseline has been adjusted. You see all of these things have already adjusted. Well, in the real signals, they're going like all over the place. You have pretty much no way to set the baseline easily for all these different stations, and tiny variations in positioning and setup and so on seem to have huge effects on that. So I'm saying now I need to go back and check all of those again to verify what I just said. But that was part of what I found when I first saw this is the seismometer network. There are definitely variations there. The gravimeter network, the superconducting gravimeter network, was the same kind of issue. So anyway, I'm tackling these. These are the seismic events, and which are in the gravimeter records, and they're particularly in the seismometer networks. So what I'm going to do is go in and I can calibrate these against the sun and the moon. I can take out the sun-moon signal out of here and then look at just what's left. And you see here, okay, that event came about, and if you look real closely, you see here the sun-moon signal still occurred during that time. It cannot be damped, modified, changed by what's happening. You can change what the detector experiences, but you can't change the signal at that location. So that's what the signal was doing at that location. It contributed to this signal in here, at the moment during this little earthquake or whatever that was, and so this is correct. I guess I can put this in. This signal has absolute magnitudes. It cannot vary by much, because of the precision of the um, positions of the sun and moon and earth and their known magnitudes. Is it changed much? It's like down at a fraction of this compared to these other variations. So I can say this is my reference standard, and that when I overlay these, then I'm saying I'm comparing a known magnitude of gravity signal at this location to what's happening there. And then this is the rough first cuts you get to when you're trying to say, well, okay, I want this messy thing to fit. Some of them get better. Okay, even and actually, I can subtract off the residual. I don't show it here, but I can subtract off. I can say that's my best fit. Okay, remove the earthquakes. Okay, because there's some math rules I can use, or statistical rules I can do. I can remove the earthquakes, get this piece in here fitting better, clean it up, use that, get my best estimate for the background fit, and then look at what everything else with that removed. Now some of these, you see the variations are almost all sun-moon signal. They're driven a lot. They're rising and falling a lot because of the sun and moon. Let me close this. And okay, now here on these guys, this is not the sun-moon signal. It's like tiny dot on that big month-long thing. But the I can set the absolute scale in here by comparing overall, like for a day, during the day, I can say, look, I can lock down this magnitude here, and I know that the sun-moon signal is only having small variations on this. The sun-moon signal is not making sharp spikes as far as I know, unless there was something that happened on the sun that would transmit a pulse that would get in here. Eventually, I hope to see that. If there's, a big solar flare, if there's a big solar flare on the sun, a big mass ejection, could we see that in the gravity array on the Earth? Could we set, like as we scan around the year and the sun is rotating constantly, we're getting different views of it. Its interior is not changing. It's kind of rigid in a way. I think it's more or less a rigid rotation with a lot of liquid stuff going on, but it's not like sloshing around massively, in real time of weeks to months. So what would happen is we could scan the interior of the sun with an array like this. So I'm trying to see what are the limits on that. So nobody's sent, as far as I know, nobody's sent a gravity scanner to orbit the sun to pick up its interior. We know a little bit about its gravity and its internals, but it's all from models and surface measurements and neutrinos and models, and there's a lot of work going on, but as far as I know, we don't have any particular measurements. I'm going to stop. I just wanted to say hi and give you an idea. This is kind of fun. Oh, these are the standard deviations on the bars. I just stuck those in a few minutes ago, just so I can see where they are. And I think some of these are very interesting. I'd love to learn more about. I'm just this one says barometer. BHE. That's the eastward channel of there, but they apparently also have a barometer and some other stuff. That's station information. This is how far it is in meters from this earthquake, and that's my first estimate of the gravity signal for a particular model of a massive gravity event there. I overkilled this, but it's not. It's probably within an order of magnitude or two of being correct. I've only been at this seismometer thing again for a couple of days, so I haven't really had a chance, but I'm just trying to see how can I sort out these things. In the middle, this is a 10-minute period. In the middle here is that event. The center of this is that earthquake event, and you see none of them show a massive spike in the gravity at that point. No, they're not. That they're going about their business and something happened. But that same event and other events are contributing to this. Most of this stuff is being transmitted as seismic waves through the earth, and we may need different kinds of instruments. So the gravimeters are supported and suspended. The earth is shaking them, and the suspended, and affecting the couple between the suspended that's what a superconducting gravimeter looks like. This is a niobium 1-inch sphere held in place by superconductivity with capacitive sensing plate. That's what the signal looks like. I've shown you those before, and you see here this is over. These are daily, day by day kinds of things. And let's see. Oh, that's the signals I've done. Every station for many years for all of the superconducting, and I can match these signals so closely that you can't see the sun-moon signal. This is the sun-moon signal at a superconducting gravimeter station. It only the tiny variations in here are local effects. So I can subtract all of this out and get you down to a tiny residual. Let's see if I have any. I don't think they show any here after they've subtracted it off. So if they wonder data. And there's the this is showing a little more how they suspend the gravimeter spheres. And anyway, people are constantly trying to build better ones, but these things are pretty stable. I don't know what that is. That's kind of noisy looking, but yeah. So anyway, all right, let me stop here.